What's up, YouTube? What's good? Today's discussion, women's love language. What's women's love language? 2025, 2026. And, you know, y'all, I think sometimes we're delusional, right? To want to think, you know, that a woman's love language is something so difficult, so complex, right? When it's really simple. It's really simple. Woman love language is what makes them happy in the moment and in the time where they're at. Or we can all universally come to agreement that the one thing all women unilaterally agree on, right? We understand that their love language is
What's something that give you butterflies?
Money. Money gives me butterflies.
I think, and I really think us men are delusional a lot of times to think that a woman really love us for us, that women really put on for us because they genuinely, solely like our personalities, our looks, and all that stuff. Now, is it part of the, attraction part important in a lot of cases? Yes. Yeah, sometimes they need you to look good and take from you, right? They don't want you to be ugly because they might not want nothing from you. It's just the name of the game. So how we're to understand women, right? It's simple. It's really simple. It's really simple. And this is the most delusional part for the men, right? And all these men, because you got a lot of these men who think that they can just date a woman for free, right? When it's very upfront and understandably that you're paying for the dates. Men are paying for the dates. You're paying for the whole process after you. So you're dating, then you become girlfriend and boyfriend. You're paying for that too. It don't stop. It doesn't change. It doesn't change when you become boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, oh well, now you might be together, and the girls are like, oh, we're gonna go Dutch, and we're gonna go 50-50. So, the woman love language is a provider. Period. Point blank. Point blank. That is their love language. All the other shit, oh, I like my nose tickled. I like my feet tickled. No. The woman's love language is, a provider. The protection part, that they ain't really tripping on that. They got that covered. Because remember, when a woman is with you, she has protection against you. So if you ever get a line, she's going to call somebody on you to keep you in check. So she's not really there for you. You're not really there for her to protect her in a little bit. It's like, somebody run up on you, just call her bitch, and you don't do nothing yet, she's going to definitely leave you. But for you to just think that she's with you, that's a large part of the protection part, is a very important part to her, the most important part? No. Women, their love language goes with their feelings at that time and that place. And if you think that these women love you just because of your personality, just because you're just a great guy, you got life fucked up. And this is the delusion. This is how us men are delusional. We think that is like we him. We him. And then we want to get on here, and then we want to have a conversation about, well, don't leave with your wallet. That's the stupidest. That is the stupidest talking point I've ever heard. Don't leave with your wallet when a man's economical situation is a large, maybe 80% of his value. The economic value of a man is 80 to 90% of his value as a man, right? Even amongst men and women, people look at you differently from when you're broke than when you have money. It just, if you're a millionaire, you walk in the room, people are gonna respect you more. If you're broke and walk in the room, niggas are gonna be like, "Oh, that's just such and such." And then, if you're broke and people might mess with you around, the rich guy come in, everybody's leaving you because they want to know what that rich guy got. They want to be a part of that because they want to be a part of wealth. They want to be a part of the win. Because to American society, being economically successful is winning. And people want to fuck with winners, especially women, right? And that's their love language. They want the winners. They want the winners. They don't want the losers. I'm sorry. I mean, I want to feel for the hardworking guy who ain't making that much money, who's barely making it, and hope you get a bad bitch. But I'm being honest with you. Guess what?
What's something that give you butterflies?
Money. Money gives me butterflies.
Yeah. It's not happening. It's not happening. You have to understand this is the way of the world. Adapt, evolve, and deal with it. Quit trying to, and in a lot of these talking conversations, a lot of men are trying to convince women that being, traditional, liking a man for his personality, choose better for his who he is as a character, all his character building. That's just, I don't. That's our delusion. I guess that's what men's delusion is, because women in the history of this planet have never ever picked losers. They always will go with the winner. Even when it was covering the cover, the parents, when they picked with their daughter, they picked the winner. And the winner is, let's see what they have to say. Let's see what the winner is. The winner is the one who can provide. Period. 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 It's not the one who, can't provide. It's the one who can provide.
Even really respect himself if he's broke. No woman wants to submit to a broke man. They just don't. Not financially broke, spiritually broke, emotionally broke. Like, if you're broke, you got to fix that too. Not only does a woman not really respect you, but in reality, a man doesn't even really respect himself if he's broke.
And that's the reality. And that's the reality of the situation. I don't know why we want to play the dozens and say, oh, well, build your character up, lift weights, get this. And then I'm not saying not to do that. That's fine. All that stuff is fine and dandy. But it's just not the reality. It's just not the reality. Because why? What do women want?
What's something that give you butterflies?
Money. Money gives me butterflies.
And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. Women are loyal to her emotions, her feelings, and success. Not the man. Her emotions, her feelings, and success. That is her love language. That is her love language. And this is why you can never make a woman truly fulfill her happiness. Because it's very difficult, it's very difficult for them to, make, it's very difficult to make it in life without the things they want. Right? They feel making it in life to them is having everything they want. Not necessarily everything they need, everything they want. And that's just a fact. We have to understand that this is the reality. This is the reality of life itself. There's no other way that you're going to be looked at as a suitor, as someone who is capable, or someone who is highly respected by your women or your peers, right? It's just no way you're going to do it without fundamentally being successful. Now, are there some homosexuals? Very few. But nobody's signing up for that. Are there some house husbands? Yeah, there are a couple. There are a few. There are a few. And, I'm not necessarily saying money is the only thing that can get your woman. I'm not saying that. You can get a woman if the sex game is good and you got some money. At least you're bringing in 50+% of the bills. Then they'll deal with you. You have some good looks or great sex. And that women will fall for that. But the problem with that is, if she's the breadwinner, you're not running the house. You can't. Your say-so is very limited. And she will always look at you in a somewhat okay fashion. And that's the truth. These women do not care for men's personality as much as they do men's success. Let me repeat that again. Women do not care as much as your personality. They do not care about your personality as much as they do your success. Now, like I said, your personality gets you in the door, but to sustain and to make her ultimately, you're a woman, you're going to have to meet the economical climax. You're going to have to be economically competent, if not more competent, depending on the level of her beauty. The woman love language is based on her emotions, her feelings, and economical position. So her only need for a man is to make her life better, not worse. And if she doesn't think that you can make her life better, then, you're just a placeholder. This is the reality. The numbers don't lie. The numbers are saying the women are not settling for losers. Women want winners. And that's just a fact of the matter. Women pick winners. Now, what we do have to do, we have to break down what part of the when we talk picking. Now, picking just to have sex, that's one thing. That can go anyway, right? But picking to be in a long-term commitment, or even let's say long-term commitment first, and then to a marriage, right? That is different. So when I mean picking, I don't mean, oh, you can walk out because you're good looking and you got a little bit of swag, or you got a little bit of, personality that you can get you some sex. Yeah, any man who has a little bit of swag and a little bit of personality can get him some sex, right? Or even if you don't have a lot of personality, if you're just really attractive, or you have you're involved in a lot of parties, or you a lot of friends who are around a lot of females, you'll get sex. People will have sex. Men will have sex to the end of time. So I don't mean just having sex. When I'm talking about getting picked, we're talking about getting picked for a long term. Right? We're talking about getting picked for the long term. To have this woman on your arm, walk around and call her your woman. That, and to be honest with you, and I'm not talking about when you're boyfriend or girlfriend. When you're boyfriend or girlfriend, it doesn't mean she picked you. You're in a job interview. You're on a job interview. And then during that relationship term, right, you then will be considered to be picked to be for a long-term commitment or marriage. And most of your value is built up. Equity in a relationship is economical for the man. And women evaluate these things very carefully. They do not back down from what they feel they need or what they think they need. And they will not settle for anything less than what they think they need. So, we as long as you have that understanding, you guys will be hurt less. We have to get out of this delusion. We have to get out of it. We have to get out of thinking that, we don't need these things to sustain these typical relationships.
That is some guys' money, all of it. Women single-handedly spend about $20 trillion every year. How much of that is some guys' money? All of it. How do I know? Well, just stop and listen. Do you hear that? That's the sound of millions of women pushing their man's buttons and him caving in and handing over his cold, hard cash. I'm just kidding, ladies. Don't cancel me. We love you. In all honesty, anyone can find themselves in a bad financial situation, even us guys. If you found a sugar mama and you have to ask her for some money to get you out of a pinch, then good for you. Because even though research has shown that women are more likely to ask for money in a relationship, I'd say that's a win for equality. That's why I want to take a moment to provide some insight as to why it's so common for women to ask their guy for money when they're in a relationship. And when it happens to us, do we give it to them or do we tell them to kick rocks? Sometimes women ask their boyfriends for money because they're too embarrassed to ask anyone else. Look, life throws curveballs at us sometimes. You might have unexpected expenses that come your way and you need a little bit of financial help. And let's face it, Who better to ask than the person that you love and trust the most? And if you're the boyfriend, that's you. I do want to acknowledge that as a guy, we experience a range of emotions when we get asked for money. Some of us are elated that such a strong, independent, beautiful specimen of a person is even asking us for money. But sometimes our overprotective side comes out, especially if it isn't the first time she asks for money.
Did she seriously just ask me for 2 more bands? I know she's going through some kind of rap phase, but what does that even mean? 2 bands? Who is she?
And now we're going to start investigating a little bit. Like, we want some more information before we start handing over the goods. And then the darkest place a guy can get is feeling used, emasculated, and manipulated. Look, some of these guys, they are in denial. You know, they could be getting used, but they don't want to confront their girlfriend out of fear of losing her. But don't worry. The Red Pillars have a solution for curing this type of behavior. Look, you just call the guy a simp over and over again. Eventually, he becomes aware of his simpish behavior, he dumps his manipulative girlfriend, hits the gym, and becomes Andrew Tate. It works every time. But seriously, most guys do worry about getting used when their girlfriend starts asking them for money. Luckily for us guys, there's a few obvious red flags to look out for. So let's just run through them real quick. One of the first ones is the length of time.
And that's where we're at, right? Everybody, when in a relationship, most times not the woman's going to ask for something. What that price may be varies, right? But she's the most likely to ask for what she wants to ask for, right? We, as men, we like doing it. We don't have a problem with doing it. But how do you know if you're getting used or if she's being genuine? Well, how many times will ask you? So we say typically in a relationship, if she asks you every other week, or she comes to you and say, hey, I wonder if you can pay my phone bill or something, she's pretty much using you. But let's be honest, in any relationship, the woman's going to use the man. Every relationship, a man is getting used. There is not a relationship that exists that a man is not getting used. Part of a woman getting with a man, this is why women are looking for providers. So, and they're basically telling you, you're signing up to take care of them. And this is why they don't really deal with broke guys, right? Because a broke guy can't provide for them. He's useless. He's useless, right? But a guy who can provide is usable. And that's the fact of the matter. And then we want to, as men, be delusional. Oh, well, and we want to give out the advice, hey, quit leading with your wallet. How the fuck do you go on a date and say, oh, well, you know, our first 25 days, we're going to go to Starbucks and to the parks. You're pretty much not going to have a girl. So a man signed up to be a provider is what we signed up for. But we want to be delusional to think that what we're providing, she isn't using us for it. And the truth is, that's her love language. The love language for a woman is you provide for them. Now, everything ain't got to do with money. Some things have to do with sex, right? Some things have to do with, you know, emotional intelligence, all that stuff. Yeah, those are important too. She does require attention, right? But ultimately, to get into that place, to get to there, right? The road to get to have her with you every day, to move in with her, to do all those things, you have to first prove you are a provider. She's looking at what kind of restaurant you take her to. She's looking at that. Okay. She's looking at your clothes, how you present yourself, your hair, all your stuff. And all those things count. Everything you do counts. So her love language is, number one is to find a provider. That's at the top of her list. And then everything else comes, right? Then everything took it. Then y'all can figure everything else out. And typically, these things never last.
That two people have been in a relationship. The length of time that two people have been in a relationship should really determine whether or not anyone should be asking for money. Hopefully nobody's asking for money on the first date. If you're asking for money on the first date, obviously that's a red flag. Another thing to consider is how frequently they're asking for money and how much money they're actually asking for. Now, if they're asking for money all the time, that's obviously a red flag. That's something you need to confront them about and identify, why they keep asking for money. Hopefully you can determine what that is before you decide to give them any more money. And if what they're asking for is even a reasonable amount, let's say she needs $500. Now, that might not be a big deal for some guys, but for other guys, that could be a deal breaker. Now, if she wants $500 after the first date and you think you got lucky, well, think again, because you picked up a hooker.
That seems kind of expensive.
Expensive?
Can you break 100? I got 100 right here.
No, baby, I'm not gonna break 100.
Let's say a guy does give his girlfriend some money. Now, it doesn't matter the frequency or the amount, but at the end of it, he doesn't feel good about it. Now, in my opinion, that's an automatic conversation in the future because he can't give her any more money until he's ironed out whatever's going on. He doesn't want to be stuck with any feelings of resentment, feeling used or manipulated in the future. So he's going to have to iron that out with his girlfriend. Another reason women ask their boyfriends for money is because they're socialized to ask us for money. A woman who grows up with a father or a father figure or some person that cares about them and loves them probably gave her whatever she needed. His baby girl asked him for some money. He's going to give him some money.
Honey, I'm gonna go to the mall with the girls. I need some cash.
Honey, I gave you money last week.
Okay, I need money. I have no money.
Lord have mercy. Here, $100.
$100?
Huh? Well, I guess you don't want it.
Hey, Pops.
Hey,
I'm
honey.
going to the mall with my friends. Can I have some money?
Girl, you ain't got to ask me twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold on. I'm not done. In case you run my cash, girl, here's the credit card. You good, girl. You good.
Thank you so much.
You good. Don't worry about it, man.
I got two daughters. They don't usually ask for money because they're 7 and 9, but they do ask me for candy instead. And let me tell you, they got all the candy in the world. They literally have buckets of candy. There's nothing wrong with giving your girl some sugar every.
And this is the facts of the relationships. Why are we so in denial? I don't understand. Like, oh, she likes me for me. My wife likes me for me. My girlfriend likes me for me. And I'm not saying that the woman you're with don't like you or even love you, right? But that love is broken down in a pie chart. She just don't love you for you. She just picked you because you were the most competent and capable of getting to where she thinks she needs to go. It's just the way it is. We have to realize that when we are in these relationships, that your partner, she's going to have her needs. And are you willing to meet those wants? Because she really don't need them. She wants them. Are you going to give them to her? And it's just a fact. Because no matter what woman you meet, she's going to be like,
What's something that give you butterflies?
Money. Money gives me butterflies.
Women, we meet you and we're like, our idea and our fairy tale is you are Prince Charming, honey. And then we try to get you to fit Prince Charming. And the more you don't fit it, the more y'all end up in my office.
and that's the facts.
every now and then. Another reason women ask their boyfriends for money is because she may not make as much money as you. Not because of the wage gap. She could be finishing college, working a part-time job. She could love her job. She could love her career, but just be in a non-STEM career field that doesn't have a super high salary. Or she could be just starting a business. She's on her way to being a boss babe, but today she's a broke babe.
She's on her way to be a boss babe, but today she's a boss
Ready
babe.
for your final challenge? All right, ladies.
These women are savages. And let's keep it real.
Women single-handedly spend about $20 trillion every year. How much of that is some guy's money? All of it. How do I know? Well, just stop and listen. Do you hear that? That's the sound of millions of women pushing their man's buttons and him caving in and handing over his cold, hard cash. I'm just kidding, ladies. Don't cancel me. We love you. In all honesty, anyone can find themselves in a bad financial situation, even us guys. If you found a sugar mama and you have to ask her for some money to get you out of a pinch, then good for you. Because even though research has shown that women are more likely to ask for money in a relationship, I'd say that's a win for equality. That's why I want to take a moment to provide some insight as to why it's so common for women to ask their guy for money when they're in a relationship. And when it happens to us, do we give it to them or do we tell them to kick rocks? Sometimes women ask their boyfriends for money because they're too embarrassed to ask anyone else. Look, life throws curveballs at us sometimes. You might have unexpected expenses that come your way and you need a little bit of financial help. And let's face it, who better to ask than the person that you love and trust the most? And if you're the boyfriend, that's you. I do want to acknowledge that as the guy, we experience a range of emotions when we get asked for money. Some of us are elated that such a strong, independent, beautiful specimen of a person is even asking us for money. But sometimes our overprotective side comes out, especially if it isn't the first time she asked for money.
Did she seriously just ask me for 2 more bands? I know she's going through some kind of rap phase, but what does that even mean, 2 bands? Who is she?
And that's all, folks. Until next time.